Page 34, down in the valley. On page 32 and 33, they give you some more stuff. Well, page 32, they give you a little exercise where you get to try and figure out lining up. You need to know the names of the notes in the music is what they're after. And what it is you got one column of bass clef and one column of treble clef. And there's one of each that'll match the letters. So you have to find the music in the bass clef that matches, like that first one, A, G, E, D. There should be, well, it's going to have 4 notes in it for one thing. And then you got to figure out which one it is in the bass clef. And also in the treble clef, there's going to be one there that matches that. So one on each side will match each set of letters. You could do that. Then, of course, the sight reading. Do lots of sight reading. I encourage it. I don't cover it in the lessons because it's sight reading. You just sit down and try and play it without practicing it. Now, it's okay to practice it and learn it afterward, but the sight reading part is like a one-time shot. Sit down and play it. If it's struggling, if you just can't do it, then do it one hand at a time. Sight read it one hand at a time if you need to. And then put the hands together and see how you do. Let's talk down in the valley. We're using our extended position that we've already covered. We know all about that. We got broken chords and we know all about those, so let's try this out. 3/4 time. It's on pages, 34 and 35. We're in the key of C major. Make sure you can do the C major scale. I got a video on that scale. Do what I say in the scale, the 1 octave up and down. Let's cover this one hand at a time. Make sure we got all the fingering and notes and stuff. We're starting, if you look at the first 2 numbers, it's here. So we're in this position. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1. Remember, a dotted half note's the same as 3/4 notes, so here it's going to get 3 counts. Measure 5 is tied to measure 6. You're going to hold that down and then go on. Now we get an extended position for a G chord. We're going up to the G, and it's 2 and 3. Similar to what we did with C chord, now it's G chord. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that G is not tied. You play both of those. That curved line, that's the phrase or the slur mark. And then measure 12. You're on thumb here, and what you're going to do is simply lift up and go down. I don't like that, but we'll go ahead and do that here. And you can do that some. Left hand, just broken chords. Chuck, 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 chuck. You don't have to play the chuck, chucks real short, but you can't connect them. They're repeated notes. Measure 5, it's the 5/7, G7, all that, okay. Go over to page 35 and last line. Here we got the 5/7 chord. This is broken chords here, and then 1 chord, and then the 4 chord, and then the 1 chord in extended position. The last 2 measures at the bottom of page 35. It's here, 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 here. We went out to the octave, and we're using 4 and 2. Some people teach 3 and 2. I don't. I would prefer 4 and 2. Again, I want to get it into the habit of fingering, that when the 5th finger and 5th finger's involved, and there's only 1 note in between, I use 4th finger. So if it's next to each other, it's 4th. 1 note in between is 4th. But if I go 2 notes like that, then it's 3rd. So it's 4th finger. That's sort of the principle behind that kind of fingering, and it works the same way in both hands. Put the hands together. See, sometimes this business of using different fingers in the hands at the same time throws people. I know, because it did me when I first started. I couldn't do it. Look at measure 4. You have here, this business here, and then here, and then here. I want to do the same thing in both hands. Well, you can't. It's just, you work on it. Practice it, and you'll get it eventually. You get the idea? Rhythm-wise, it's straightforward. There's a bunch of quarter notes. Then get rid of the hesitation. So it's a nice, take it at any speed you want. It doesn't matter, but got no hesitations. We can speed it up later. Now we add the slurring. Lift up, It's like taking a breath. And it's a little lift. I exaggerated so you can see it better. It's a little lift. In the left hand, I connect the first two notes, and then you can't connect the next two notes. That's why it's an chuck chuck. Until you get to measure 12, where it's a broken chord. Well, these are broken chords too at the beginning. That's broken chord. It's just a different pattern. Measure 12, it's now you connect all of these, which is interesting because now I'm going to lift up in the right hand but not the left. So let's start with measure 13. See here, I'm lifting up here, but I'm not here. I'm connecting that. I'm lifting up here but not there. Right hand, but connect the left hand. Like so. So put in the slurring, it's really phrasing. Slurring and phrasing, we need to talk more about that because they're a little confusing. They use the same curved line to indicate both. Right now, it's really, we're just playing legato. Just connect them when there's a curved line. Dynamic goes to the melody, and here, soft. It makes the left hand very soft. Then measure 7, you're going to go up to moderately soft. Go up to moderately soft here. Keep the left hand soft. Now, on measures 11 and 12, you have that little arrow there to get softer. Well, one note on a piano gets softer by itself. It dies away. But the left hand, you went up to soft. You go back down to very soft. Soft. And now you can do it a measure at a time if you need to. Here, and then softer. That's right. That's fine. It gives the illusion you're dying away. And then measure 13, you're soft again. Like you were at the beginning. Then measure 19, you go back up. And then at the end, last two measures, there's a ritenuto, retardando, same difference. Slow down. The last line. Slow down. And you have that arrow all throughout most of the last line to get softer. Well, you've been moderately loud in the measure 22, you're moderately loud. So that measure 23, that's moderately loud also. Here. And that's going to die away on its own. Well, the left hand was bent up a little louder, and I would do a measure at a time. Just here, next, a little softer, very soft. How soft can you play without using the soft pedal? That's cheating. So it's softer, slow down. All the time in those last four measures, I'm doing this. All the time I'm doing all of that, I want to hear that. It's got to be on top of them. And don't play this louder so you can do, you play this at moderately loud, whatever it is. And this other, you practice and learn to play them softly. It takes practice to gain that kind of control. But you can practice that sort of thing when you practice in the scale. Because when you're doing the C major scale, you can practice it loud. Practice it soft. You can practice it with one hand louder than the other. Then switch it. You practice all these different things with the scale. You need to practice the scale anyway. Now, you don't go that fast. I've been doing this for a million years. It makes a difference. But you take it your speed and practice these different dynamics and different things with the scales. I don't use exercises per se in my lessons. I didn't use them in college. I didn't use them. It's yuck. I kind of like the Czerny exercises. You want to look up Czerny and get some of the beginner exercises he did. They're kind of fun. At least they have a sense of a melody to them. Hanon exercises got no melody. You're just going up. It's sequence going up and down. But they're kind of fun if you just want to wiggle the fingers. However, I don't use them, I don't teach them, because I can do everything in the scale and the arpeggio. We haven't got to arpeggios yet, that's a ways off. Actually, you are using them, you don't know it. But the scales, you're starting the C major scale, you can do the stuff with that. I want to show you a little advanced fingering technique we use in piano, and you'll learn it eventually. I'm just going to show you a little bit early. I don't like going from measure 12 to 13 using the thumb on both. It's between the slurs, between the connecting lines, and you can lift up, and when you lift up you can move, so it's doable. But we don't have to do that. So what we do is you're playing the C on measure 12 with the thumb, and what you do is while you're holding it down, you take the third finger and you simply put it on, hold it down, and then release the thumb. And now you're holding it down with third finger. So we just substituted a finger for another finger, called finger substitution. Some people use them a lot. Some people avoid them. I use them a lot. I find them because I like to feel my way around the keyboard, and this finger substitutions let me do that a lot better. So if you do that, now you can reach down for measure 13, you're right there. You still lift up though. Here, you're just not having to use the thumb on both. I'll leave that up to you, but it's something to explore. Now they show a little pedal at the end. I disagree with that. I'm not going to use pedal there. I don't want to add overtones, especially when I'm dying away. I don't want to add overtones to it, so just forget pedal here. Speed, somewhere in the middle. You don't want the quarter notes to go too fast, and you don't want the dotted half notes to be too slow. So it's got to be somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in there, I think. Fermata at the end, you hold that out as long as you think you need to hold it out, and then let go. If I do it with a metronome, I'll double the value and I'll hold it for 6 counts instead of 3, and then let go. Speaking of that, let's do the play with me. Let's play it together very slowly to double check the notes. I think the rhythm's okay. I'm not going to do any dynamics, just the notes. I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. Hold. Oh, off. Something. You'll figure it out.